Welcome back. Look, I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're tackling one of the most, honestly, transformative concepts in modern business right now. In this explainer, we are going to completely unpack exactly how companies are turning their passive, renting your attention audiences into highly active, owned brand communities. We're going to use a really structured, step-by-step visual breakdown here to show you how you can empower your customers to become loyal members, co-creators, and ultimately your absolute best brand advocates.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our 5-part roadmap for today. First, we'll look at audience versus community. Second, the actual ROI of community. Third, the steps to build one. Fourth, measuring success. And finally, launching with a platform called Atrium. All right, Section 1, Audience versus Brand Community. Let me ask you a really direct question to kick us off here. Are you just collecting followers, or are you actually building relationships? Because right now, a lot of companies are spending massive budgets optimizing for reach, only to find they have this super shallow connection with the people they're actually reaching. So here's the paradigm shift. An audience, it simply receives information. It's highly transactional, and the communication is a one-way street, straight from the brand to the consumer. But a community builds relationships. It co-creates. The communication there is multidirectional. It flows from the company to the members, from the members back to the company, and, honestly, most vitally, from one member to another. That peer-to-peer interaction, that's literally the heartbeat of a real community. Now, to really wrap our heads around this, we need to look at what a community is not. A massive social media following is not a community, right? They're just passively scrolling. A customer database, purely transactional. A newsletter list, well, that's just a distribution channel. It's a megaphone, not a genuine two-way relationship. Even a support forum or a loyalty program doesn't equal a community by default. I mean, bribing someone with a 10% discount code for their birthday does not magically equal a relationship. These tools might be a piece of the puzzle, sure, but they completely lack that shared identity required to stand on their own as a community. Let's anchor this with a brilliant definition from Harvard Business School Online. They define a brand community as a space in which people with a strong emotional connection to a brand interact with the company and with one another. I want you to really zero in on that phrase, emotional connection. If your customers are only sticking around because you happen to have the lowest price, you have an audience. But if they stick around because they feel a real sense of belonging and identity, bingo, you have a community. Moving on to Section 2, the ROI of community. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we transition from those warm and fuzzy feelings of belonging straight into hard business value. Notice how a community maps just beautifully onto your biggest business challenges. If you're struggling with customer loyalty, the community provides shared identity and recognition. Need better attention? The community offers continuous post-purchase value. Want faster innovation? Well, you instantly get direct feedback and co-creation. And for customer support, you suddenly have this incredible peer-to-peer network answering questions for you, which drastically reduces the load on your official support team. And look, we see this working incredibly well in the real world. Think about brands like Glossier or GoPro. They didn't just broadcast to their audiences, they evolved them into active contributors. Glossier used community insights to directly influence their product development. GoPro encouraged customers to share their creative work, which generated massive amounts of authentic, incredibly credible social proof. Because let's face it, people trust real experiences from other users way more than polished corporate advertising. Okay, Section 3, Steps to Build One. So how do we actually move off these rented social media platforms where the algorithms are entirely dictating your visibility and build an owned community? Well, it starts with these 3 foundational steps. First up, define a clear business objective. Do you want to reduce support requests, or are you trying to build an ambassador program? Pick one or two. Please don't try to do everything at once. Second, identify the ideal members. And third, create a clear value proposition. And listen carefully to this part. Wanting more customer data is a company objective. That is not a reason for members to join. You have to offer them something they actually care about. When you're identifying members for step 2, you should be looking for your loyal customers, your product experts, your early adopters. You should absolutely not just invite everyone immediately. Why? Because your first members dictate the future culture of the entire community. If you bring in the wrong crowd on day 1, you are literally going to spend years trying to fix that culture. Now, to solve step 3, you must craft a strong, member-focused value proposition. For example, instead of a generic invite, try something like, For independent designers, our community is a place to improve professional skills through exchanging practical knowledge together with product experts. See how much better that is than just asking them to join to receive company news? You have to frame the entire community around their desired outcomes, not yours.
Which brings us to Section 4, measuring true community success. Once you've launched, how do you actually know if it's working? Well, beware the vanity metrics trap. Seriously, a platform with 20,000 inactive registrations is just a digital ghost town. It's got digital tumbleweeds rolling through it. It creates vastly less business value than a highly specialized, deeply engaged group of just 400 regular contributors. We have to stop measuring success by how many people clicked a sign-up link and start measuring it by how many people are actually deriving and creating real value.
To track that real, tangible value at every stage of the journey, you need these specific metrics. For activation, you want to track their first post or comment. For engagement, please don't just look at likes, look at member-to-member replies. For retention, look at the active member return rates after 30 or 90 days. And finally, for business impact, tie it all back to your customer renewal rate, or maybe the support cases avoided. Because at the end of the day, that is how you prove ROI to the boardroom.
And finally, Section 5, launching with Atrium. So we've talked a lot about the strategy, but you obviously need technical infrastructure to build this dedicated space, right? Our sources highlight a platform called Atrium by Linksbreed, which is positioned as a modular service for creating a community hub. They advertise that through their AI setup at web4.community, you can actually deploy the initial environment in about 30 seconds. But, and this is a big but, while setting up the technical shell might be lightning fast, building a mature, thriving community is a completely different story. So the crucial point is that technology is just the enabler. Atrium might rapidly accelerate your platform creation, but you still have to do the human work. You absolutely need a rock-solid community strategy, continuous content creation, rigorous moderation rules, privacy checks, and highly targeted member acquisition. Technology creates the space, sure, but human behavior creates the culture.
If you do deploy a platform like this, here are the final phases you really must follow. First, seed content. This is an absolute necessity. You would never invite people to an empty room for a party, right? Have discussions, tutorials, and welcome videos already waiting for them. Second, run a closed pilot with maybe 20 to 100 trusted members just to test out the bugs. Actually, scratch that. It's not just about bugs. It's about setting the tone. Only then do you move to phase 3, public launch and activation. And give them a really clear activity to do on day 1, like a live Q&A or a challenge, not just a boring login link. Technology can gild the platform, but only shared purpose and genuine interaction can actually build a community. It is time to stop renting an audience and start owning your relationships. So as you look at your own brand today, I want to leave you with this. Are you treating your customers as mere transactions, or are you finally ready to give them a place to belong?